Okay, I've got a character limit issue here, so I'm going to read out this post from the Enlightened Janitor, Bodhisattva, the mop opinion icon. When you welcome Jesus into your heart and mind, are you becoming part of the Jesus hive mind? Because you all seem to give up authority and autonomy to Jesus or whatever. No? Like with a question mark. He's acting in good faith. Or does he just do all the work and like dump you into heaven? Is it basically just church approved magic? So I need to put this in a video because I'm not even gonna get close to answering this. We're at like an era in humanity where like the different global churches that have been schisming and schisming and schisming, and like some of them even like openly say that God allowed the demons to come against them, like the Vatican, who just exorcised themselves, that kind of thing. Um, and is it basically just church to prove magic? This has to do a lot with like the semantics and definitions, because like specifically like magic is defined and it's not magic, but like using modern colloquial language, like it is magic. It is church approved magic. Like what really matters here a lot is the intention of the words, and that's basically a lot of what the gospel is getting at. Like the good news. That's what the gospel means. It's the good news that like the material reality that is all things took human form to better understand us and to make reality contain a human shaped space. So, when you welcome Jesus into your heart and mind, are you becoming part of the Jesus hive mind? The reason that logic, like you're right to look at a lot of reality in such a way that like there are competing egregores and thought forms and all these sorts of concepts that 9 a.m. I'm supposed to start work. That's my alarm. um, there's all these competing high ideas, and like people do get lost in these, and there are actually a lot of times too where the churches are a parasitical monstrosity. Not all of them. Some of them are incapable of becoming that, even when they come near to that, because some of them are like literally protected by the Father, which is like the part of God that isn't material but is non-temporal and larger than the sum of all things, for all things are within its sum. It's the one like we can't understand, and like the Mohammedans like kill you if you draw a picture of them because they're so offended you tried. And that's where this gets into a really interesting thing here, is because it's about the intention, and the language is like we're pre Tower of Babel. The language is shattered, but we're coming back together into like a single language of communion and understanding, and that's what's driving this sort of church unity, and that is also why we're going to see a lot of people who sense that are going to go to their local hive mind and they're going to get completely absorbed and eaten. But that isn't how Jesus works, because Jesus isn't a hive mind. He's literally all of material reality. He is the Word. He is like what God, before there was time and space, spoke into being. He occurs throughout time, and he moves through time seemingly like in a linear fashion, like like life as we know it does. So you ask in the second paragraph, because you seem to give up all authority and autonomy to Jesus or whatever. It's quite actually the opposite. A major part of Christ's message about reality and about God, the in this case we're talking about like that which is above all, and in the Christian metaphysic has a personality derived from what is all, and like that which is good that emanates all being is that combination. So you can't give up authority to that without getting into this conversation about free will. And then you start getting into these beautiful chaoses of speech and knowledge where everything tumbles around and all of the bad is destroyed by being non-iterable, as in it can't continue to iterate. That's how like you see evil people always fall on their face, evil things always collapse, like bad people can't organize themselves together for a long enough time of period other than just take advantage of each other, but good people can, and good things can. I have a graph about this. I'm not going to edit this to put it in there, but it's on another one of my posts. I might link it down below. But it's essentially like two circles, and oh, sorry, a circle with a triangle overlapping it in a Venn diagram. And the primary circle is all of reality, but it's fixed, it's finite. But then there's a central line leading out of it in towards the direction of a future that continues. And so like it's like referencing Gödel's incompleteness theorem that like evil is an infinity and good is an infinity, but the evil infinity is smaller than the good's infinity because when you map them over not just the x, y, and z axis, but when you also add in the t axis, like the time axis, then the infinity of the good is larger because it is an infinity of infinities, where the good of the evil is smaller because all of it will eventually at some point end. It's a bounded set that is infinity within it. It's like the difference between like rational numbers and irrational numbers kind of thing. So your last kind of question is, we're talking about Jesus, does he do all the work and like dump you into heaven? This is where we get into we touch on the same issue here about like free will and like intention. And that's why like the gospels are really about like banging into people's heads this entirely alternative way of viewing reality, where you go, oh, no one should be a slave aside from to the one thing that is in control of all things. So it doesn't like there's no choice about being in that into slavery or not into slavery. You're actually deciding whether to be or not to be. So yeah, when you welcome Jesus into your heart and mind, are you becoming part of the Jesus hive mind? Maybe. Depends how you do it. You really shouldn't be. And you're not like welcoming Jesus into your heart and mind. That's like one of the translation layers that some organizations use. And like we're not even using remotely any of the languages this stuff was originally talked in. We're talking through translation layers. So are you becoming part of the Jesus hive mind? No. Because you all seem to give up authority and autonomy to Jesus or whatever. Like, no. But like, I get why you see that. Like a lot of people are shitty, and a lot of people hide that shittiness behind whatever bullshit they can possibly hide behind. So like, no, not only are you not giving up authority and autonomy, you're specifically giving your authority and autonomy to that which is iterable, which will continue, can continue, to which that is good, you're giving yourself to all that is and to nothing that isn't. Jesus kind of helps as like a focal point for that reasoning, for that control of the flesh and the passions and all that. And from there, we get gifts that you can see in other traditions, like grace and peace and whatnot. And like, Jesus isn't just told through the gospel. Like, even in the gospels, Jesus is pointed out as coming to all people in all places in all ways. He's really just like a final checksum to make sure that people are paying attention to like what God the Father is saying. But like, fallen world, apple eaters, all that stuff. The whole narrative itself contains the fact that like, oh yeah, but like you people suck. You suck so bad that reality itself had to manifest as a person to figure out what the fuck was going on because like we sucked so bad. But like, we sucked bad because we're not God, yet we gained the knowledge of good and evil and we became able to be like God. And that's caused a great cascade of echoing problems through our time. But those problems are part of the lessons that our Father in heaven, God, is teaching us. So yeah, he doesn't do all the work, but he does do almost all of the work because he is all of reality. So yeah, and it's a church-approved magic. I like to call it magic, but very few Christians like to call me a Christian. Good luck, Mop Man.